Have you ever wondered why Jesus Christ, when they came to make him king, he ran away? He went someplace where he could just be alone, you know? Why is that? Why didn't he want to be king? Doesn't he want to be king? Yeah, but not elected king, you know, not to do the will of the people, but to do his Father's will. And his Father's will is that nobody should be forced to do anything, you know. Jesus Christ wasn't going to be king and say, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this. You know, it's like when the guy came up to him and said, hey, can you tell my brother to share the inheritance with me? And Jesus said, hey, who made me a judge or ruler over you? Then he said the lesson behind it, he says, well, I'll give you an answer. Beware of every form of covetousness, because even when a man has an abundance, his life does not result from the things he possesses. It has nothing to do with the quality of life, or the rewards of life, or the goodness of life, or the value of life. People are not robots. We're created in the image of God. Where the Spirit of God is, there's liberty, there's freedom. Freedom to what? To do what somebody else tells you? No, the Bible says man has dominated man to his own injury. The same thing when Israel wanted a king. God says, am I not good enough a king for you? You want an earthly king? Yeah, they want somebody to tell them what to do all the time. That's not God's way. God's interested in not what you do, but who you are. He wants you to be alive to the fullest extent possible. That means you're not in subjection to another man to tell you what to do, but you do what God tells you to do. We have a Father in heaven, and your Father tells you to be free. God wants everybody to do what they want to do. Some people seek to oppress other people, to become the boss of other people, to become a big leader. Jesus didn't want that. He ran away when they wanted to make him king. He didn't want to be a leader. God has his way of doing everything. Jesus isn't going to rule over a bunch of evil people. That's why he's going to bring the evil. He's already king, you see? And he's working history in order to destroy the wicked people before he begins his 1,000-year reign. And what we're going to learn is spiritual. It's not do this and do that and do that. No, you do it because of what you do because the Spirit of God is in you, which is the Spirit of life, which is the Spirit of freedom, which is the Spirit of choice, which is the spirit of creativity. Why do you think Jesus says, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am in their midst? Why didn't he say, hey, whenever you got 2 or more, I'm in their midst? No, he said 2 or 3. Many are called, but few are chosen. Everybody wants to go along with the crowd. They want to join a gang. They want to join the New World Order. That's a big gang. That's all it is. A few people controlling everybody else's life. That's the opposite of God. That's Satan. Satan is the killer of freedom, the killer of joy, the killer of peace, the killer of happiness, the killer of mankind. I mean, how many people can you be close to? You know, I always had this 1 or 2 good friends, you know, all my life. People that I could talk to. And I got lesser and lesser. I mean, I had one friend, you know, for a long time. And then after he died, it was like, well, I don't have no friends anymore. Because I'm not looking just to have friends. I want to find the special people that know what's going on, you know, that have the Spirit of God in them. Not the spirit of captivity, want to lead others into captivity. Jesus said, he that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. We don't want to be free. We don't want to be captive. We don't want to be part of an organization, a gang, any of that. That's not freedom. That's slavery. It's of the devil. Now let me read this to you from John, the 2nd chapter, verse 23. It says, "Now when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover and the feast day, many believed in his name when they saw the miracles which he did." They said, "Whoa, this guy is something, man." Verse 24, "But Jesus did not commit himself unto them, because he knew all men, and needed not that any should testify of man, for he knew what was in man." He wasn't going to commit himself to the man. Because they want to make him king, and then he ends up being their servant. And that's what Jesus said. Whoever is greatest among you should be the servant of all, and should be as the youngest. See, the Gentiles, they reign over it, and the people that they reign over are called the benefactors. They benefit from these rulers, supposedly. And Jesus said, that's not the way among you. Whoever's the greatest, let him become the least of all, and the servant of all. Not wanting to be the big boss. That's something I never had a desire to be, because that's entanglement. That's going against freedom. I remember when I was a little kid, I had we had a little argument or something. I forgot even what it was, but me and this other guy got into this little fist fight, and everybody was, like a boxing match. Everybody was rooting for somebody, and I won won. It wasn't one. It was just, I felt sorry for the guy, man. I didn't want to hurt anyone. And not that I was a big monster. I couldn't hurt anyone anyway. And they were all, when the guy had given up, they were saying, no, now get him, jump on him, get him, beat him more. I thought, oh my God, these people are animals, I wanted to give the guy a hug, man. I love the guy. I love the poor and the needy, and those that are suffering, those that are outcast. Those are the ones that I love, the ones that don't fit in anywhere. That's the ones I love. And I'm not their master. I'm their brothers. We got one master. God is our master, and his son, Jesus Christ. They know everything, And we're just brothers, man. Who wants to rule over another person? I wouldn't want to. When a man has a family, then he's got to rule over his own children, Well, he doesn't rule over them. He gives them freedom. But he tries to reach their heart. Not just that they're robots and they do whatever he tells them to do, like he's some kind of despot ruler. That's crazy. And John Lennon, for example, he was a very, very talented person. He was the leader of the Beatles, but he didn't lead through saying, you do this and you do that. No, he was a free spirit, but they all looked up to him because they could see the spirit in him. It was a freedom and a joy and a fun and happiness. And they liked that, so they all looked up to him naturally, you see. It wasn't forced of anything. And then later on, when Paul wanted to be the boss, then John says, I'm out of here, man, And then after that, he made music like... telling about the Beatles, he said, that dream is over, man. It's gone. I was a walrus, now I'm been reborn. I'm John, that's all. That's reality. He says, Yoko and me, man and wife. That's reality. That's all it is. The dream is over. Because anything you get into, it oppresses you, when they want you to become a leader, And it was like, the Beatles John didn't want to get tied down into anything, like from Revolver and Rubber Soul, Sgt. Pepper, and Magical Mystery Tour. They all had a psychedelic, it's when they started using psychedelics, I guess. And then Brian Epstein died and everything. Then they made the Magical Mystery. But after that, they wanted to cut out all that garbage, all that crap, and they came out with a White Album, No psychedelic, no false, no great backwards tapes and all these things. It was just the Beatles writing simple songs, bare songs, and it was a great album. The White Album was a great thing. But you see, but then, John, he knew he had to escape the whole thing. And he was a teacher. He went into a primal therapy because he knew that people had to get back to who they are. And that's what it is, and to be yourself, to get in touch with your own spirit, your own heart, to be who you are. That's what it's all about, because they always want you to be something else. But to be a child of God, you're not something else. You're not what another person wants you to do, whether it's your parents. See, that's what it was all about, the parents thing. Because John grew up without parents. His aunt took care of him. And he had more freedom than the other guys, So he experienced that. And he experienced the fun of that, the joy of that. Life is supposed to be joyful. It says, in your presence is joy forevermore. In the presence of God, there's happiness, there's freedom, there's joy forever. So when I grew up, I paid attention. I liked the Beatles. But Paul was a good writer, and John was a good writer for songs. But I never really paid attention to John Lennon or anything until after the Beatles. See, when he was himself, he says, this is me, John, without all the garbage. I have reality, and that made an impression on me. And that therapy and everything was great, I think. Because you got to be who you are. If you're sad and you think, well, I got to be a happy person, and you put on a fake front, that's nothing, man. That's a lie. That's unreality. Whatever you are, truly, if you're lost, if you're a nowhere man, if you don't know what you're doing, if you're just completely taken over by other people's wills and things, you got to find yourself first. You got to find who you are and be who you are. You see, there's no lie in that. That's purity and that's truth. There was one guy that came up to John Lennon and says, the Andy Peebles, I think, he says, I've talked to a lot of them, and they say that John Lennon is the king of rock and roll. And John said, oh, great, aren't you king of rock? That's garbage to him. He didn't want that garbage. He didn't want to be king. So, John was when he died, I felt like I lost my best friend, because he was amazing, a great talent in this world. And I'm glad that he was able to share it with the whole world. But it was the innocence. It wasn't, he didn't want to dominate anyone. It was just pure innocence and love and freedom. When Jesus had thousands following him, and his disciples, if you send them away now, they're going to faint, walking back to where they live and stuff without any food, So then Jesus had to, have them all sit down in groups by 50s. And here's a lad with few fishes and a couple breads, and he multiplied the miracles, But then they wanted to make him king. He said, no, I'm not going to be a king over all this mess you got here, And so freedom is the way, free and be yourself. There's no need to be evil. We all want love, So just be yourself and don't let anybody steal your soul. And give love. Then you can give love. But anything that's fake is fake. It's unreality. All these religions try to get people to do what they say. They make up a lot of rules, All these cults and everything. They make a tight control group, We got this rule and that rule. Freedom is where it is, not rules. God is not about that. He even says that he gave them a law that was not good, so that he might destroy them from off the face of the earth. Isn't that pretty blunt? So don't join gangs. Be yourself from the goodness of your heart. Who wants to get involved with guns and forcing people? That's not love. That's not peace. Just be yourself and learn to love people and give to people. And you'll be happy. and the whole world can be filled with joy and love and peace and no slavery at all, no more.